You already sensed it before the words arrived, like a soft shift in the air around a flame. Something that used to feel natural has begun to scrape against your spirit, and the more you try to ignore it, the louder it becomes. A separation is unfolding, not as punishment, but as sacred protection. And the deeper truth is that your path is being cleared for alignment you could not reach while this bond remained. You don't have to force anything. The very friction you feel is the universe placing gentle hands on your shoulders, turning you toward a direction that better honors your light. If your heart is quickening right now, it's because your inner compass recognizes the message as real. Before we go any further, write your date of birth and your zodiac sign in the comments, because timing matters for this revelation, and your own story will help map the pattern that is opening before you. The pattern often starts with small dissonances. Messages that once flowed now land oddly. Tone that once soothed now stings. Jokes that used to make you sparkle suddenly feel heavy. You catch yourself looking at the same face and wondering why your chest no longer rises the way it did. It's not that you're broken. It's that your soul refuses to shrink to fit a container you've outgrown. Even the most generous lion can't sleep in a cage without forgetting the shape of the sky. If you listen closely, you'll notice how your attention is slowly withdrawing, how your intuition keeps tugging your sleeve as if to say, "Not there, not anymore. Turn here." And while you listen, do something kind for your future self. Subscribe to Leo Zodiac now so these messages keep reaching you when you need them most. Your timeline is being edited in real time, and guidance that arrives at the right hour can spare you months of confusion. You won't miss your cue again when the universe sends the next sign. Everything that looks like loss at first glance is acting as a precise incision, the kind a skilled healer makes to remove what has been quietly poisoning the bloodstream. You have given loyalty beyond reason, held the door open, smiled through hurt, made excuses because your heart prefers to believe the best. That is noble. But nobility is not the same as self-abandonment. The divine does not require you to bleed out to prove you can love. It asks you to let love evolve, to let it choose truth over habit. Sometimes the truth says, step back. Sometimes the truth says, this person cannot come with you, not into the elevation that is calling your name. It takes courage to accept that instruction without vilifying anyone. Yet that courage is your inheritance. You came in with it. If you pay attention to rhythm, you'll notice how life has already been lowering the volume on this bond. Reschedules that never land. A distance you can't explain to anyone who hasn't felt it themselves. You try to rethread the needle with more effort, more patience, more optimism, and for a short while it seems to work, until the thread snaps again. The reason is simple. The garment you're meant to wear next season is not cut from this fabric. No amount of willpower can turn silk into armor or make sand hold its shape like stone. The universe is not asking you to blame. It's asking you to accurately name what it is. There is a cosmic choreography moving behind the scenes of your daily errands and late-night thoughts. Picture the sun, your ruler, standing at center stage, pouring clarity into every shadowed corner of your life. Then imagine that clarity partnering with the force of irreversible transformation, the energy that closes false doors and unlocks the precise one that was always yours. When those currents line up, people who were meant to be temporary cannot stay permanent, and situations meant to teach cannot become prisons. The more you hold on to what is exiting, the heavier it feels. The more you soften your grip, the more the road opens beneath your feet with a quiet click, as if the lock were waiting for your willingness. That click isn't random. It's the sound of your timeline realigning. In that realignment, there is a role for every emotion you'll feel during this process. Grief, relief, anger, confusion, nostalgia. Let them pass through you like weather. None of them are wrong, and none of them are meant to park inside your chest forever. If tears come, let them wash the dust from your vision so you can see the difference between comfort and peace. Comfort is familiar even when it's unhealthy. Peace may be unfamiliar at first, but once you taste it, you will know why the universe insisted on making room. Think of the gardeners who prune living branches. To the untrained eye, it looks cruel. To the rosebush, it is mercy. That cut redirects their sap toward growth that can actually bloom. You are the garden and the gardener at once, the living thing that feels the cut and the wiser part of you making it on purpose, because you can finally admit you deserve more than almost right. Almost right can crowd the soil for years. Exact right needs space, sun, and a gate that closes behind what cannot honor you. As the cut heals, you will catch yourself reaching for what used to be there and finding air, and then slowly finding light. You may notice signs around you growing strangely specific, overheard sentences that mirror your private thoughts, numbers repeating, dreams that show you at a crossroads with one path lit and the other dim. Some nights your mind will inventory every memory of tenderness and ask whether you are being too dramatic. Other nights you'll remember the heaviness you've been carrying and wonder how you mistook it for devotion. It is neither too dramatic to defend your peace nor disloyal to release what refuses to grow with you. It is honest. It is adult. It is your next chapter asking for a key. Midway through a journey like this, fatigue can set in. That's when many people turn back out of habit. Slow down, take a breath, and let your nervous system know you're safe. If this message is helping, pause for a heartbeat and gently like the video now. It costs you nothing and tells the algorithm to keep delivering the guidance you've been asking for in prayer, journal pages, and quiet car rides. Treat this small action like a promise to your future self. I will not abandon my inner knowing this time. Now look at what actually changes when you stop resisting. Your sleep begins to deepen. The knot in your stomach loosens. Food tastes different, music lands brighter, your laugh returns. Instead of scanning every room to measure another person's mood, you scan your own spirit and ask what it needs. The answer might be silence, sunlight, movement, new books, or simply the absence of that one vibration that kept making your heart apologize for its own volume. A lion should not have to apologize for roaring. Your voice carries the medicine of conviction. Let it be heard in your choices, even when your mouth is quiet. Sometimes the reason for the separation shows itself quickly. A truth surfaces. A plan that never included you is revealed. A mask slips. Other times, the reason waits until you are far enough down the road to recognize the contrast. You step into a new community, a project, or a love that treats your radiance as a given, not a resource to mine, and the difference stuns you. Suddenly you understand that you were negotiating for crumbs because your old table was arranged by someone who did not know your appetite. The moment you sit where you belong, your whole nervous system exhales, and the pain of letting go turns into gratitude for not being allowed to stay where your spirit would have starved. It helps to remember that endings do not erase meaning. The clause of a destiny contract can fulfill itself and close without retroactively rewriting the tenderness that once existed. Be kind with your memories. Thank them for carrying you as far as they could. Then ask them to sit quietly while you pack only what is truly yours. Lessons burned into wisdom, boundaries sharpened by experience, self-respect relit like a lantern. You will not be going in circles. Growth moves in spirals, and you are higher than the last time you passed this part of the path. If guilt creeps in, especially if the person from whom you're being separated is not obviously harmful, remember that misalignment does not require villainy. Two good people can be wrong for each other's futures. Two talented colleagues can be poor partners for a vision. Two loving family members can be unhelpful mirrors in this season. You do not have to indict anyone to choose health. That is the maturity the universe has been training into you, the ability to say no thank you without needing a courtroom. Refusal can be tender, distance can be reverent, and still the boundary holds. As the days pass, ask better questions. Not why is this happening to me, but what is this making possible? Not how do I convince them to stay, but how do I return to my center? Not what if I'm overreacting, but what if this is the beginning of the ease I've prayed for? The answers will not shout. They will land as calm, Your body will tell the truth first. When you imagine letting go and your shoulders drop, believe your shoulders. When you picture staying and your jaw tightens, believe your jaw. The language of muscle and breath rarely lies. You may receive invitations that look like consolation prizes, versions of the old dynamic dressed in nicer clothes. Be careful. Flattery is not the same as devotion. Attention is not the same as care. Consistency is where love proves itself under ordinary weather, not just under dramatic sunsets. You are past the chapter where you perform for warmth. Fire is your element. You carry it with you. Anyone who wants to stand near you now must bring their own wood and meet you with fuel, not with damp excuses that turn your blaze into smoke. For some Leos, the separation arrives through logistics, a relocation, a schedule shift, a sudden opportunity that places miles and months between your routines. If this is you, bless the geography. Distance is sometimes the exact medicine required to remember who you are when you are not managing someone else's reactions. For other Leos, the separation is internal first. A quiet click where your heart simply unhooks, where the old story stops making sense no matter how beautifully it is told. If this is you, honor the subtleness. Not every exit needs a trumpet. Some exits are as gentle as a door, closing on soft hinges, important precisely because there was no slam. As you step forward, set rituals that anchor the new frequency. Wake before the noise and write the sentence you need to carry that day. Move your body until it remembers its power. Eat what keeps your light clean. Keep your space in order so your mind can hear itself think. Speak your boundaries out loud, even if the only person in the room is you. And when you find yourself tempted to go back for one more round of the same lesson, hold your own face with both hands and say, "We are not doing that anymore." Self-parenting is sacred. You earned this authority people may not understand. They may call you stubborn or dramatic or accuse you of throwing away something easy. Smile without defending. The ones meant for this next season will understand without long explanations. They will recognize the steadiness you're building and calibrate to it, not try to bend you back into a shape that served their comfort. You have been the sun in too many rooms that treated you like a lamp to be switched on and off. Now watch how rooms transform when the sun decides when and for whom it rises. If part of you hopes the universe will return this person later in a healed form, that hope is not wrong. It is simply not your assignment. Your assignment is to heal whether they do or not. Should life circle back with better timing, you will meet it as a fuller version of yourself and decide with clean eyes. Until then, live as if your life is already the answer to the prayer you made in your loneliest hour. Make choices your future self will thank you for. Wear your name like a vow. When you say Leo, let it mean I will not abandon my light for belonging. There is an old teaching that says angels sometimes wound to heal. Consider how your limp becomes a pathfinder, not a disfigurement. Consider how your scar is less a defect than a map of where the blades missed your heart. You're not fragile, you're finely tuned. And in that sensitivity lives your capacity to love with majesty instead of martyrdom. Majesty knows when to bow out. Majesty knows when to bless from afar. Majesty knows that the palace is not only a place but a posture. Head high, shoulders soft, eyes clear, feet steady. Listen for the moment when gratitude pierces through grief. It might happen standing in line for coffee, or on a bus bench as rain begins, or at your sink when the water runs warm, and your hands remember the rhythm of caring for yourself with attention. The moment is small but seismic. You will realize you are grateful not because suffering was good, but because protection was precise. A door you kept forcing finally releases its hinge from your hand, and behind it you can hear the faint music of something waiting with your name on it. You do not need to know what it is yet. You only need to keep walking toward the sound. When clarity arrives, it often does so without fanfare. One morning you wake, and the compulsion to check their notifications vanishes. One afternoon you pass a place that used to ache and feel nothing but weather. One evening you laugh, really laugh, and catch yourself mid-sound thinking, "Oh, I'm back." That is the miracle. Not fireworks, but the return of your own frequency without static. Your friends notice. Strangers comment on your glow. Workflows, ideas land. You sleep and wake without bargaining with your alarm. The river is moving again, and this time it's carrying you rather than dragging you. Before this chapter closes, gather your courage and release the last fragments. Gifts that kept you tied in loops. Messages you reread to make pain feel like proof of love. Memorabilia that turns your room into a museum of almost. You honor a story by letting it end when it ends. You honor God by trusting the timing that interrupts what you would have stretched past its natural season. You honor yourself by freeing the oxygen your fire needs to rise, and when the new arrives, as it will, meet it slowly. You are not auditioning anymore. Let people reveal their temperature over time. Let opportunities prove they are aligned with your values. Let your intuition remain the final editor, cutting scenes that look exciting but disturb your peace. You have learned how to read the difference. If you want a companion sentence for your mirror, take this. I do not chase what must be carried to me by alignment. Say it while you wash your face. Say it while you lace your shoes. Say it until your bones memorize its quiet authority. This is how kings and queens, true ones, move through a world full of noise. With discernment, with patience, with an inner throne no one can sit on but you. At the very end of this path, when you look back, you will see how nothing was random, how the exact moment you finally released your grip was the exact moment the next door unlocked, how the friend who called at the right time delivered a sentence that became a bridge, how the job you thought you wanted would have kept you from the work that feeds your soul, how the love you insisted on resuscitating would have dulled the love that now meets you without negotiation. You will bless the part of you that listened when the first tap on your shoulder whispered, "Not here, not anymore." Tell your story below. Write your date of birth and your zodiac sign, and if you feel called, a brief line about the separation you suspect is divine. You never know who needs the confirmation that your words will deliver. And if this message protected your peace today, subscribe to Leo's Zodiac so you stay tethered to guidance that respects your time, your calling, and your crown. Keep your notifications on so you meet each new chapter on time. Close your eyes for a breath. Let the past unhook. See yourself stepping through a threshold with shoulders unburdened, voice steady, heart bright. What leaves you now does so because your next life has already begun to arrive. Walk into it. Trust the timing. And as you do, subscribe and stay with Leo Zodiac for more messages crafted for your journey. Before you go, gently like this video so the light you received can ripple outward to every Leo who needs it today.